on Expert. Expert came out looking for a slaughter, but unfortunately, not working out for him.
No, they got slaughtered. It was pretty difficult, unfortunately, for them. But I like the flair. I really do. It's something that I wanted at the very beginning of this series. It's going to be hard for them, admittedly, to topple Misfits, so they have to do those kinds of things if they want to stand a chance, really, I think. I
concur. They need to have variety. It's what they've been known for. It's what they do so well. Unfortunately, it's not working out in game number 1. But we are going to a second match, obviously. So let's get ahead and find out where our battleground is going to between our two teams. Now, Bans are Towers of Doom and Brax's Holdout. We just played on Dragonshire, and we will now be going to Infernal Shrines, which will be a pick for Misfits, which means that Expert is going for the first pick.
So I think, looking at that draft and how it went, as much as, yes, they lost with the Butcher, I don't think that deters them from potentially pulling out later on in this series.
Oh, I don't think so.
Like, they went up against a composition that was notoriously difficult for Butcher to deal with. Malfurion rules, Zul Bone Prism Lockdown. You've got Variant for Taunt as well as the charge from Warbringer. So, and even the Zebo Wall. So, yeah, I don't expect it like 100%, but they definitely, I don't think they're deterred.
I still expect more Medivh, though, if we're going to be having those compositions. Just because of how much he empowers that.
Especially on this map.
Especially on this map.
Unless we see Team Expert, if I would say to them, don't ban Tassadar, because then Misfits is in this really weird spot where they have to ban Tassadar and Medivh.
And they will agree with you. Sonya ban, which has become a staple, especially on this battleground. She does well in her lane, also handles the Shrine phase. Misfits will ban out Ragnaros. Now, Expert, do they get their Tassadar?
Okay, this gets really weird now. So, Tassadar has been banned like every single time on this map for the most part. And of course, Team Expert just likes to let it through and likes to let their opponents have it.
Tassadar Vala?
We could see that, and that Tassadar, that Valor could easily be Darkmark, which is normally on the melee assassin, but he's performed very, very well on the Valor.
All right, we'll see what happens here as Misfits will have that option available to them. Tassadar Vala seems to be one of the combos that's already been talked about as one of the stronger ones you can get.
I would like them, I mean, if they think that they want to choke out Blade, I would like to see them take Zul again. They're going to take Tychus Rhaegar. Okay.
Wow. Okay, so here we go. Rhaegar, Tychus, Malfurion. Tassadar still floating around, but both teams not being interested quite yet here.
So this creates a very odd spot. Now, do they want Medivh? I think Expert does want Medivh. Like, it's one of the most powerful maps for Medivh, and Team Expert has shown that in the past quite heavily. They, again, I will keep going back to that game against Dignitas where they had a very good opportunity to win, but decided to just portal through onto a fort against Ragnaros and die. What else would they pick up with it, though? Zul?
Do you think, Medivh Zul?
Medivh Zul?
Which is so weird to think that we're going 5 heroes in on the draft, and we'll go to the ban phase, and Tassadar hasn't been touched.
The thing is that I don't think Expert would have ever touched it. I'll be honest. I think that they're just a team that just doesn't like playing with Tassadar right now. And if they were to, it would be ADRD actually on the Tassadar. But again, he hasn't played it during this time. ETC Jaina. Okay.
Oh, this is interesting, actually. Okay, so think about it further. We'll just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper here.
There's a lot of layers.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers here.
There's a lot of layers.
If they don't mind playing with Tassadar, but they like playing with Medivh, they can still go through this phase, get the heroes that they want on their foundation, and Misfits still has to make a decision on which hero they want to get rid of.
Yeah, true. Because now they have to be thinking about Medivh.
Yeah,
they do.
They have to be thinking about it. Because you're not going to take Medivh. We haven't yet to see Misfits do it, and I don't think they're the kind of team that's going to run a Medivh composition. They would run a Tassadar, so they can leave Tassadar up and get it here. So Misfits, what do you decide? Do you get rid of your Medivh? I think you do, especially with Bad Benny being on ETC.
The funny thing is that you remember way, way back in Korea, you would see MVP Black picking up Tychus, and one of their enablers was Tassadar for a long time. It's not quite as predominant now, and you know, Tychus has found his own little way without the shielding capabilities. But it's definitely something to consider. Likewise, even Zarya is another thing to consider for Hasuobs. Or they just ban it, never mind.
Wow. Okay, so Zarya has been banned out. Expert, what is your choice here? How crazy would it be if Expert decides not to ban out Tassadar or Medivh here, and Misfits grabs them both?
We just had 2 stats one after another, where Tychus in Europe right now had something like a 37% win rate across 47 games or something, but Misfits have been a 100% win ratio with Tychus. They are the outlier. They are the one that proves the other European teams wrong. Probably because they're just fantastic players and the kings of Europe right now.
Yeah.
But they go against the curve and they win with it.
Interesting to note there. We'll have to do a deeper dive, figure out why that's actually happening for them here.
We've already dove too deep. We
gotta
already got
dive
the
deeper.
butcher.
We gotta go down to the Titanic and then past the Titanic and hang out with the blue whales and find out why Misfits are such a good comp, good team here. So Varian ban out. Now we start thinking about the other options here from Misfits.
I don't know why. Like the thing is that they're trying to limit warriors and kind of bruisers, but Diablo is still really strong for Misfits on this map.
Yeah, Diablo's good. Dahaka's still floating around too. Misfits has ran it a few times in this battleground.
Blumby, what else can we be playing?
Tassadar Tyrael? Okay, there's Tyrael.
Oh. And if they round this out with a Greymane pick for Nurok, then oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, now that I say that, that would be a little bit of a weird composition because, wait, Tassadar...
They wouldn't have a massive warrior. They'd be rolling solo Tyrael.
Yeah, that would be a little odd in terms of the roles that they fulfill as a team because Tassadar would normally be Hasuobs, right? Then Tychus would be played by... If it was Tychus Greymane, for example, Tychus would be played by Nurok and then Darkmock would be on Greymane. But in the past, we've seen Nurok being the player for Greymane in the past comps that we've seen in HGC Europe. So we'll see how that rounds out. What do you think for Team Expert?
Well, Jaina, HGC, Malfurion, they're pretty well set up here. Do they run Zeratul at all? Could Zeratul be devastating here? Sonya being banned out would be my first choice against Tassadar, but that's been banned out already.
They haven't ran... They've ran a little bit, and it was Nick. Nick did play it. I would like it for them to just try and find them. Oh, well, what? Oh my... What? All right, so actually, Hammer is something that they... Wait a minute. Let me look in my notes. You keep talking.
Illidan, we saw... The only time we've seen Illidan played it was back against, gosh, Be Genius. And remember, he had the solo core rush as Illidan. That is the only time in HGC that we've seen Blade's Illidan. And he has a 100% win record with it. But the mix-up with Sergeant Hammer is interesting to me because... Tychus, Tassadar, and naturally what you call backliners, Sergeant Hammer destroys 3 backliners here. So if Greymane gets picked up, Sergeant Hammer actually does very well against that comp, and if you get a few members low on health, suddenly Illidan has a dive.
It used to be one of his good maps, or her good map, Sergeant Hammer. Right, so this is cool because this is, again, Team Expert bringing out all of their pocket picks to try and topple the Titan in Misfits. Nick plays a mean Sergeant Hammer. I've seen it on him before. He has used it in the past. He's well practiced on it as well. This is an exciting composition. I don't know if it's going to have success against Tyrael, Tassadar, Tracer. Oh. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's
the Tassadar Tracer combo. Theoretically isn't as strong as it used to be because level 4 and level 7, but it's still powerful. And you can grab at level 4, you can either grab the extra lifesteal or you can grab the armor. Either works out for you. Still a great combo. There is some control, though, available for Team Expert. Naturally, you do want to play Tracer against Illidan if there isn't a lot of control there. But you still have the power slides, you still have the knockbacks, you have Jaina's chill, you also have Sergeant Hammer's knockback, and then Mafingern's roots.
You think about like how do I best say this? Darkmock, legendary melee assassin, right? He's actually a really good Tracer as well. The same kind of principles that you apply to a melee assassin apply to Tracer as well. You're diving deep in the backline, and actually, she's pretty darn good. Is it Illidan that's good? She's pretty good.
She's good against Illidan.
Yes.
Yes. You normally pick her into compositions that don't have much CC.
This is... Oh, what a wild draft. All of my focus is on how Hammer's going to do because he can set up in really good spots to control shrines.
Sure.
But Tracer is going to get in there. Sieging up as Hammer against the Tracer is very fraught with danger. It's an easy pulse bomb. It's an easy bombs when you zip on out of there as well as melee hit. So I'm worried for Expert, even though they're bringing one of their pocket strategies to the table.
Yeah, the control will need to be on point there from Malfurion when it comes to these pulse bombs that are coming her way. Also, Odin at 10 gives you the siege potential back against Sergeant Hammer, so you have this weird fight that's going to be happening around the Shrine phase. It's a very tug-of-war-like, especially at level 10. But we'll see how it shapes up for our two teams. Let's just get into it. Misfits taking on Expert. Here we go. Misfits up 1-0.
I wouldn't have an expert series any other way, Trixler. This is exactly what we come to expect here from HGC Europe. To the left-hand side, Curson on Malfurion, and Bad Benny going to be on ETC. Next up, it's ADRD playing the Sergeant Hammer. Blade it will be on Illidan. And finally, Nick is going to be on Jaina. So, a little bit of a switch up from what I was saying before, because I was expecting Nick to be playing the Hammer, but I can understand now because ADRD also plays it.
Moments on the right, Splendor playing the Rhaegar. Blumby will show off his Tyrael. Darkmok here on Tracer, and we will keep an eye on him for sure. Hasselhoff's on Tassadar. He plays a mean Tassadar, man. And Nurok, last but not least, will be on Tychus. Expert, I both love them and I hate them because I have spent the last month and a half, 2 months trying to wrap my head around this whole EU meta thing, and they just crush it all. They crush everything that I attempt to learn here. But it's refreshing to see a team like that in a league like this. One that's going to push every single team they face to their limits of knowledge of Heroes of the Storm.
They're an unpredictable beast. Yeah. Now, one thing to consider, though, is that sometimes, we mentioned against the previous games against the big three, does some of that crazy and wackiness, is it also a weakness in the fact that they sometimes just can't navigate towards normal compositions and perform well on those? They have to bring out the wild card to try and win. But I don't mind it here. I really don't. I'm just very scared for ADRD. He's going to have to play an amazing Hammer game against something like Tracer Tyrael diving onto you.
Well, same level of 1 talent here for Tassadar that we've seen in the past. After finishing that quest, or at least getting halfway done to 20, the shields will still stay there. So a great pickup with Tracer, so you get that pseudo effect that we had on the old Tassadar, where you can have shields staying there. You get that lifesteal over 4-2, or even the armor. We'll see what route they'll be going here. Tassadar low on health down the bottom right, still able to escape.
And you can already see by the build starting out from Sergeant Hammer that ADRD has the same concerns we do going into this game. Yes, you can build Hammer for mega damage, but Hammer does enough damage already. Try and find some sustain wherever you can get it. So get Regen Master, start collecting those globes between bottom and middle lane so that you can have more health to survive that oncoming pursuit of something like a Tracer.
Regen globe stacking will be a definite thing here for Sergeant Hammer. At the same time, also another note too is that we have a prog rock for our experts. So sustain is all the game here for our team. Now Furion, Regeneration Globes, and prog rock will all be kicking in around the mid game to keep them alive here against Tracer's annoying little pistols and of course those pulse forms.
All right, so it looks like Illidan is still stuck around down towards the bottom. So I envisage a future here where Team Expert isn't really trying to rival for this too much. Tracer just going straight onto ADRD. At least he has the knockback to push her away from him anytime needs be here for ADRD. And setting up in a location that's very good. I'm wondering later on if he does go gravitating range to really start solidifying these shrine positions, because you can get in spots like that and then control that entire shrine.
Yeah, control the entire area. Illidan was in the bottom pushing the entire time. Darkmok did go for the engage. I believe he actually dropped the pulse bomb, but Blade was able to escape. Now this is effectively a 4v4 in the middle, but with such a large lead for the Misfits, they are ever so close here to finishing out the shrine. 39-2. Now 40 here. So they get the Punisher in the middle. Blade continues down here in the bottom, dancing with Darkmok.
Yep. So, okay, let's see what this is going to do. Just want to bait it over, set up the siege tank just a little bit further back, and there we go. So now we can start doing big damage to it. The one unfortunate thing is that, yeah, all the Punishers are going to do damage to Hammer when she's sieged up. So it's a little bit fraught with danger, but as long as you've got some support there in Curson, you should be okay.
Focus attack here for Hammer to help out with that damage and burning down the opposing team. You see them most likely always move towards Tychus for that focus attack. Also, wonderful against a Tracer player. One, you can burn through the shields, and two, if you have a shield, you can burn it up here. After a drought in EU, she is ready to roll out. We've been seeing a lot of Hammer in Korea.
Yes, we have. I was going to say. A lot of Hammer in Korea. Yeah, they seem to really enjoy it, and about the positioning game, the zone control game. So it's excited to see how it develops over there as well. Because certainly here in EU, this is our first time for HGC Europe.
As a note, Tassadar has grabbed the Kala's Light here, so whenever the shield does expire, armor will be given to the target. So we'll be having that armor available for Tracer. And let's go ahead and begin our rotations. Mercenaries grabbing the bottom left, Mercenaries on the bottom right, back and forth action between our teams. It's cool to see that these two teams in the early game, they have just been neck and neck in both of these games here in experience.
And all those Hammer players in Hero League, watch how ADRD does it. I mean, not later on where it's potentially just going to die in a team fight, but very rarely in the early game sieging up, because he knows that leaves him vulnerable in some tense positions. And actually, you know, auto attacks from Sergeant Hammer just moving are actually pretty strong. Don't underestimate those. Don't always feel like you have to siege up as a Hammer.
Yeah, you don't have to, especially against the mobility available for Misfits. You have the Tyrael and the Tracer. They can jump on and burst out damage quickly with the Smite, the Pulse Bomb, Melee, all things to deal with. Darkmonk gonna miss out on his Pulse Bomb there, speaking about it. Blade able to escape here. Splendor has begun grabbing mercenaries in the top right, and we'll have a fight for our teams in the top. But right now, Sergeant Hammer has stayed bottom, sieged up for a slight moment here to grab an experience lead as they grab the turrets.
Yeah, so one of the things for contention for Hammer at level 7 is, do you want to go first aid, do you want to go hypercooling engines? He's actually going for hypercooling engines, just to make sure that his positioning game is much better. First aid is only going to keep you alive so much against a coordinated team, and that's not for very long at all, because they'll just blow you up. So hypercooling engines, I think, is a great choice here for ADRD.
Yeah, at that point, the fight should already be over if you're using the first aid, because Illidan's in the comp. You also have Jaina with the burst and the Q, so it's about sustaining. That's all you want to do. Okay, so back and forth in the top lane, we have Blade already beginning the Shrine phase here. 9-2. Misfits finally move their way up, finally to get set up. 9-8 in terms of levels. This can be a slow fight for our team. Watch Darkmark as he's going to be dodging the power slide here for Bad Benny.
ADRD getting in a bit of trouble there. Has to thrust away and make sure he's going to get into a safer spot. Pick out a few skeletal monsters there. And now just trying to push them
power
away.
Oh, recall. Darkmark does come back. Oh man, someone's dancing back and forth.
Yeah, it's very technical, this game. Very, very technical right now. Every auto attack is being thought about here by ADRD alone, never mind anything else. 33 monsters being taken, and I think Expert gets this, and they could even get themselves level 10 off the next wave and wall that actually comes up. This is a great win for Team Expert.
Yeah, it is. Hitting that power slide on Darkmark was actually very important, not because they could have gotten a kill off of it, because they forced a recall. And naturally, the moment you use a recall, you become much more timid on Tracer.
So, Spatial Echo has actually come in at level 7 for Tracer, and that's actually a more uncommon. I say uncommon, I like 50-50. Sometimes you see people taking Jumper now because of the way Spatial Echo was actually changed a little while ago, but it's still fine. It's kind of like an older school build here from our Darkmark on Tracer.
Now it's more of a snowball pick. You get a kill on Illidan, that might be diving too far. You get 2 instant blinks available to you, so you can dive into your opponent and make sure they can't mount up, and that allows your team to continue the assist and pushing in. Archon picked up here for Tassadar.
Nice.
So Archon will be playing just a solid amount of damage too. He also has his own form of Sergeant Hammer auto attacks with a splash damage available when the Archon pops out. Also Pulse Bomb now picked up. We have Bloodlust for our Rhaegar.
Oh my god. This is Bloodlust and Archon. And, imagine if we had Commandeer Odin, that would be the true old school. But not to be the case. Draken Laser Drill still going to help out quite a lot anyway, as we do have the Napalm on the other side for our Sergeant Hammer.
Do you remember that out of their ultimate evolutions and Tychus Odin into Bloodlust comps? Oh man.
Yes, I do.
Those were fun.
That time when Ultimate Evolution had the heroic as well.
That was good times. Blade pushing the top lane here. Fort low on health. We're set up here on the middle. Again, relatively even still. 11-11 for our two teams. The experience will be grabbed here by Darkmark, keeping that experience evened out for our two teams. Bad Benny looking for engage here. He could power slide into a mosh pit. However, with Nurok on the outskirts with that grenade, he will not be attempting to do so.
Misfits is very careful about taking these fights. As careful as Expert is, really. You would expect them to be a bit more forward and aggressive onto this Hammer, but they know that ADRD is saving big cooldowns, or cooldowns at least, the knockback, the thrusters, to make sure he's not going to be in harm's way. And if you overextend in that situation against a Jaina and Illidan, then you might just die.
Yeah. You certainly would. Bad Benny, Blade pushing the middle, grabbing a few more turrets, just eking out that slight advantage in experience. Misfits on the chase, so trying to match in the rotation. Shrines will activate in the next 5 seconds. Bad Benny power slide through Tyrael. Blumby will be able to escape, though. Shield instantly comes out from Hasawabs.
Alright, so Illidan was doing a good job up towards top soaking. They really want level 13 before they take this fight, so they're going to try and slow Misfits down for as much as possible. Illidan's coming in now as well. Tassadar taking a lot of damage. Here comes Blade as well, in the thick of things. Going on towards Blumby. Darkmark looking to put some pressure as well. That's huge shield. Keeps him so healthy.
Yeah, so Hammer got a focused attack on it. Darkmonk's still alive here with that shield being available. Blumby now having a shield here at the same time too, as the Regen Globe quest has become almost done here for our Archon. Oh, speaking of Archon, Hasselhoff goes in for it. Auto attack on Blade. Half health already for Bad Vinny and Blade at the same time. 26-23. Neck and neck here on the Shrine phase. Jaina looking for more, having Blizzard available. Still Ring of Frost at the same time. Illidan's going to dive in. Here is Blade with the dive. There's Sweeping Strike. The Sanctification has been popped. Blade going for the retreat.
And they actually give up this Punisher. That's going to be ETC already falling. They have to retreat out to Team Expert. Metamorphosis was not used during all of that time, so they didn't find themselves a good opportunity to make it work, I suppose. This is going to be some good damage towards this middle fort. One thing I do want to mention is that Tassadar against Hammer, in the current state of Tassadar, if at level 16 we see phase disruption coming in, and then making, you know, any target that's hit by the Psionic Storm 25% weaker, then that is going to be a very, very strong little tool in Misfits' arsenal, because you're almost guaranteed to hit that Storm against Hammer.
You get the Storm, and then you have Tracer follow up, and there's the extra damage.
Yes.
Yeah, you can milk that Hammer quickly. So Kirsten will have to be making sure to be there for the root to help out with that engage, and also the heals, just to make sure that ADRD can survive. Misfits, though, running away with the game right now with that Punisher. Pushed in middle, got to keep wall, putting pressure on the fort already.
They just play it patient again at Expert. In both of these games that we've watched them, Misfits has not really forced any engagements. They've just played the map, played for the opportunities, allowed Expert to come to them, and then make the mistakes. They play a very defensive style of Heroes of the Storm, which is very powerful.
Yeah. Which is odd to think when you have a Tracer on the opposing team.
True. That
you're playing safe and you're playing reserved, but when you have an Illidan that naturally wants to be willing to dive in to get those engages, it's going to come eventually, especially with Sergeant Hammer having to be setting up. So the safe and patient play has paid off so far on this day. Misfits and Expert continue their back and forth. Finally, a fort is almost dead in that top lane as Blade's been working on it. It's pretty low on health. Bad Vinny goes for a power slide. Continuing with the attempts on picking off members, but so far Misfits has played it so spread out, and anytime there has been a 5v5, Tychus is back in reserve. He's always there for that grenade.
Yeah.
So there has yet to be a mosh pit for Bad Vinny to connect with.
Yeah, still always. Little pokes here and there. Giant Killer was taken for 13 at Hammer as well. Kind of, you know, whenever we get to see more uncommon heroes, I like to kind of update you on the talents as much as possible, because compared to the other heroes, because, you know, very rarely are we going to get to see a Butcher, a Hammer, things like that,
yeah, totally,
coming into HGC Europe. So always nice to keep up to date.
Adam's, or Adune's Wisdom, Adam's Wisdom. Adune's Wisdom here, the pickup for Tassadar at 13. So we have those basic abilities coming out.
Synergize is really nice with the level 7.
Yeah.
Of course, once that is actually stacked up and good to go.
Okay, 15-15. This is a tense moment for both of our teams. They're about to hit 16. Tyrael comes online. Hammer suddenly can't siege up ever, or she gets locked in with the Holy Ground. I'm going to watch our Tyrael play, as he'll be the one to make the plays for the Misfits, and Blade has to be careful too.
He's holding it at the moment. If it's anything but Holy Ground, I'd be very, very surprised. We saw one non-Holy Ground in North America at one point. There we go. Holy Ground gets locked in. I'm very interested to see what our level 16 for Team Expert is going to be for Hammer. I love graduating range, but you do have to have a little time to set up.
Yeah.
So let's see what we're going to get, as they're just looking for damage up towards the top, and it will be base melt. So he's just looking for auto attacks, and just looking to have even more damage going on towards anybody he actually auto attacks.
Wow, interesting pickup there from our Sergeant Hammer. All right, then, well, let's go ahead. ADRD with the constant push here on the top. You know what? They just decided to push here, because you have to respect this push here. There's a mosh pit finally on one.
They're going to blow him up.
There's no Tychus here. They get the kill. Even the silence, too, from Kirsten. Tyrael will apply some damage to ADRD, but ADRD keeps chasing here. Blade in the back. Archon has been popped. Darkmonk on the right side.
And looks like Blade will dash on out here with Nick as well. Now, one thing that's important to note about the build that we're seeing from ADRD is that it's a very strong chasing build in tandem with Illidan as well. Creates for a terrible position if someone gets caught out. That face melt is going to slow down people very quickly. Likewise, Illidan's going to jump on them as well. And anybody who gets isolated is dead for Misfits.
Solid push, though, from Expert there. Getting some damage on the keep, but also to pull the attention away from the Misfits that were grabbing the Shrine. Now, the Shrine, though, is primed to be grabbed by the Misfits. They grab 39. of the minions down there. So the Shrine can be activated at any point whenever they feel comfortable to do so. Blade dives in though. Ty gets Nurok in trouble. And suddenly picks are coming to the way of Misfits. Darkmok will continue this kite backwards.
All right, so actually that was a UI bug there. So it's actually Executioner that we've been talking about this whole time. So he's just getting the extra damage in. For some reason, it looked like Bad Benny's talent was actually in the wrong place. I was like, wait a minute, that sounds weird, but there you go. So Bad Benny just gonna try and slow on this down, but it's not gonna be slowed down at all because Misfits have already done plenty of work down there. They want to find themselves a pick, aside from that Tychus, but they're fine.
Cutting forward here, and they're fine, yeah. They get the pick of there. Misfits, everyone pulled back. The Holy Ground saved the team for the moment. Nurok will be ready to assist in a fight soon. So Expert will be forced to stay here and defend. Bad Benny will be using that face melt to slow down anyone that does go for an engage. Also helpful too when you were chasing for the Odin, so
oh yeah, definitely.
Continuing the pushes here. ADRD should set up relatively well, probably between the chokes there. And Bad Benny will be in the one in the front line. The Punisher jumps in over the wall. Standard here. Keep is going to be able to help with the defense with that turret on the right side, but Misfits still get a keep wall, which is again a win in itself.
Relying on auto attacks alone for ADRD it's an ambitious claim here that if they can try and find someone, look, it's just even using his thrusters to chase on down and just get little bits of extra damage wherever he can. Illidan was slowly swinging down bot, but realizes that they're not going to get that fight, so still even in terms of experience. They would love to get that top keep. If they could, the next Punisher could quite easily be up there.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's always towards mid, actually, now that we've just had the previous two. But anyway, the point is that in the next two, it will be up there.
Still getting a keep down if you get catapults. Anytime you get, gosh, catapult pressure is just so helpful when you're dealing with the map objectives because it puts so much pressure on the opposing team.
Yeah.
So grabbing that would be a wonderful pickup for Experts. However, they have to maneuver all the way across that top lane to even get there. They are defended, though, by Misfits as they continue to gravitate towards around this area.
So that's to be expected. Phase Disruption is going to come in for that 16 for Tassadar, so he will be able to make people weaker. Likewise, on the other side, so does Jaina with Northern Exposure. She's just reducing the vulnerability by 25% on towards the targets when Cone of Cold hits. It's a little bit of a shorter range than a Psystorm, of course, but other than that, still good.
It's kind of interesting how these two teams match up the further we get in the later game.
Yeah.
Just because of the compositions, you have chase potential for Expert whenever they do get into a spot where they burst someone in the front line, get them low on health, and Odin can dive in. But on the other side too, is Misfits gets the Holy Ground into an engage and then pops Bloodlust. They have just as much chase potential, as much fight as Expert in terms of running over a team.
It's true. It really just comes down to who's actually got the slightly better positioning, slightly better edge, and better execution. As it's been shown, with the 2 kills to 2 kills, the Expert can definitely win out some of these fights.
Yeah.
And then, the last pickoff that they got was more of an isolated kill.
Hang on. Bottom left, though, Tracer and Tyrael do find a Jaina that was rotating from the bottom lane, and that is a big pick here from the Misfits. Bad Benny goes for a power slide, but will slide amongst his old ruined fort here, and Misfits walk away with all 5 members alive.
I wonder if that was down to Oracle, as we just slightly missed the tail end of all of that, but if it was, then vision is absolutely key. You see Team Expert, when they're able to get Medivh, always relying on vision. That bird is always above his opponent's team. But here, doing very, very good with that.
Expert takes a chance there to put Illidan in the bottom lane and start dealing with a fort. Sadly, no core rush here. They still have to get through a keep, but getting that fort will give them level 20 here. So Expert now has the 20 advantage. The problem is they don't have the number advantage like Misfits has.
And that is difficult for them to actually get in and do anything. Nexus Frenzy on the way for Hammer. So all of those auto attack talents, well, you bet your bottom dollar we're going to have that synergize with something at level 20, which is Nexus Frenzy. So technically a lot of damage coming out from ADRD. It's just whether or not it's effective damage is my question. Lots
of right clicks trying to break through the shields that Tassadar brings to the mix up here. Illidan's still in the bottom lane. And we're having a repeat of what we saw against BGenius. Finally, Illidan will back home here. The Punisher jumps in. Blumby on the left side here. Here is also the laser applied to Sergeant Hammer in the back. She will clear it, but the keep is losing health.
That was a funny interaction. Draken Laser Drill pushes Holy Ground out of position. And then it just moved again.
And the mana well, too.
Yeah. Anyway, they're going to try and move on against this and try and do as much damage to this core as possible. Blade has gone in very, very deep. That's going to be Bloodlust on towards him. Metamorphosis has been popped as well here. He's going to end up dying off to the Pulse Bomb. Engelodon goes down. Perfect play by Darmok. There's Sanctification as well. They're looking for more. They're looking for core, and they're probably going to get it here with Bloodlust.
Yeah, and Hasu has the Infinite Archon too. Every time he auto-attacks, he resets the duration on his Archon. He has yet to fall out of it. Dimensional Shift, that damage, just applying the full race here, and Misfits will take game number 2 and rush down the core here using both Bloodlust and Archon. Supports confirmed OP.
Very, very powerful stuff coming out from them there. So I think that, yeah, don't let Tassadar through against them. Not only the vision game, but also a lot of the sustain that he brought to that. All of the auto attacks that were coming out from Team Expert just were not breaking the shells there of Team Misfits.
Yeah, it was really hard for Expert to push in for a hard engage. Those shells you were mentioning just a little bit too powerful. All right, guys, let's get ready for game number 3 here. We'll be right back.
Everything that I do in my life is working towards getting on to the big stage of video gaming.
I don't want to get second place this year. Like I'm going for first. I won't be happy